Today is a little bit of unboxing and comparing, possibly even getting the new turbo installed onto the car. We'll see though. Alright, today is the start of day 4. Doesn't seem like it's been that long, but it doesn't seem, I guess, it seems like I've gotten a lot done in the little bit of time that I have been able to work on the car after work. Seems like I've been getting out here to the garage around no later than 7:30-ish, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, working until about 11. Last night was around 12. So within, 4 hours or so after work, give or take, in the first 3 days, I've been able to set up all my cameras, kind of do a setup for my time-lapse video that you guys have been seeing, the mount that the camera that is hanging from, my phone is hanging from right now, off of like a little truss support up to my little overhang here that I have in the back of the garage. That took a little bit of time to set up, just kind of doing a few test videos and everything. It was all in that first day, me fighting to find tools and trying to get everything not organized but enough to where I can have the tools that I need. So yeah, in the meantime of all that up until now, it's Thursday evening after work. The stock turbos are off, and I could probably be starting to put the new big turbo back on tonight, depending. I want to make sure that I still have enough room to get the oil pan out since we're going to be replacing the gasket. That may be a little bit of a hold up, so depending on what goes on there is going to kind of base what the, I guess, content for the daily video is going to be. If this has to sit idle for a few days while we're waiting on parts, I'll get something else in. I've got the wife's Dart, Jonathan's Talon. We definitely want to get it in here and get it finished up. It's literally, I don't know exactly how many hours of work I have to do yet, but definitely a good weekend's worth of work. Solid, working 2 days on a good weekend. We could probably have it pretty much buttoned up. I got a fab, we're going to go back to a bumper exit exhaust on that the car had previously with the previous owner. So we're starting with a new downpipe, O2 housing, and everything that we need to fab that pipe for. We do have the flange, we do have the pipe, so I'm going to do a little bit of high cut work and doing some welding on stainless. So that will possibly be tomorrow. I don't know, it depends on everything that we need to do with this to get this car at least rollable in and out of the garage, and in the meantime on waiting on parts. But I will be doing the unboxing, comparing the stock turbo folds to the new manifold and the turbo. I did pull the factory, or not the factory, but I did pull the new turbo out of the box. That's pretty much as far as I've got on the unboxing. I didn't really want to mess everything up because it's packaged pretty well in the box, so I didn't want to make it, I don't know, because I didn't know exactly when I was going to be getting to the car, so it was sat in here in the garage and got used as a little workbench. The top of the box did, actually, for while we were tearing Jonathan's engine down and putting the cams in, degreeing the cams, and getting the engine back in the car. But yeah, I guess we're going to get on that, look at everything that's in the kit. That will be fresh. I'll actually unbox it as I'm first seeing it too, because I'm actually curious to how the downpipe is going to bolt to the rest of the exhaust. So that may determine a little bit in the later part of the video if I need to start planning for some fabrication work or not. Trying to think what else. That'll pretty much, I guess I could do the block offs. There's a couple block offs for the factory coolant feed line and return line on the side of the block. That will, I think there's only 2 plugs actually, and then there's the new water neck to clear the turbo. I have to look in through the instructions a little bit more. I've just kind of been going step by step, didn't want to get too far ahead of myself and get confused or try and rush something when it clearly doesn't need to be. So I guess we're going to start opening up the box, and depending on how the video goes on the unboxing and everything content wise for the rest of the car, I may go around the shop a little bit and kind of explain what's going on a little bit further into detail on all the cars that are sitting around the shop here for content wise. That way you guys can know what I want to do, or what I can do around here, and see if it, I don't know if it really has any interest in anybody, but I got to get the stuff done anyway, so I might as well film it. So at least that way you guys know what to expect. I want to get it posted on a couple of DSM pages on Facebook, maybe on the forum, DSM tuners, I don't know, we'll see. I don't know how that would be responded to. I guess the DSM community has always been a really close part in my heart, I guess, ever since I was before I even had my first car. A friend of mine, really good friend of mine here that actually helped start the Power Shift channel, actually got me into DSMs. So, but they're a big part of my life. I know them pretty well in and out, and I've got 5 DSMs sitting on the property now. 2 others at the other shop still that could be here, so I could have 7 DSMs sitting here, if that doesn't explain the love for the DSM around here. The Euros, there's always there's a spot in my heart for about anything that I can wrench on, or it could be cool, or it could be fast. It's another thing that that I've been having in my brain quite a while, even before back when I first started doing that first video. I have different ideas of content to do if it ever comes to that point, that I hope it does, because I think it could be a really cool couple different projects, like maybe a build series, or maybe not so much an actual vlog style video where you're every day, but an actual just video series, maybe every couple days instead of every single day. And a lot of that's going to depend on how fast I get parts in and out. Will depend on the video, steadiness. I don't want to break the habit that I've already started to get into here this week of going more than a couple days in between videos. Maybe do videos during the week, take the weekend off, film just a bunch over the weekend, and not even put anything out until the following weekend to more of a bigger weekend project video. I don't know, it's just all one of those things that as I go, this is the 5th video I've ever made, so I'm kind of trying to find my groove, see where I want to go, see where projects let me go, see where people that want me to work on their vehicles, see where that will take me. It's all just a big, I don't know how to put it. It's just going to be a lot of, not chance, but just, there's nothing set in stone, I guess. It's going to be a lot of trial and error on the videos, and slowly get there. I'd like to do more camera angles. I would like to have time lapse that doesn't go so fast. I would like to have something that actually is a little bit longer on the time lapse, maybe a fast forward of the video. I might be able to do something to record, regular time videos and just fast forward those and make them a time lapse, but it'll all get there. Just trying to do all of that and this. So this is my first time doing anything on this platform. I'm just following strictly to the instructions and using my mechanical know-how and my experience, wrenching. So it's a huge learning curve, but I like that because it gives me something to be motivated for and have drive I was actually talking to my friend Matt, the one that helped start this channel. I'm sure he'll appreciate this, but we were just talking today about kind of being down and having hard times in life, and maybe not so much knowing where you want to go, or like I was telling him, not expecting where you were, not being in life where you expected to be, and just kind of pushing through that and keeping going. And this whole thing right here, the cameras and working on cars and having a lift in the garage at home, really kind of like ignited that spark back again that I haven't had in a long time. Granted, I have quite a bit of bills. I got a house payment, I got a truck payment. Me and the wife, we don't have a whole lot of bills. We pay, her car, which isn't, crazy every month. It's almost paid off, but there's a lot of bills that I chose to, my truck. I didn't have to have a brand new truck, but it's a payment that I chose to have. So it can be stressful times, being able to actually finish my projects, like the laser that I haven't, worked on in probably 2 years at minimum. It's just all things that hopefully being in front of the camera and being able to put content out, getting people's interest to even keep me motivated. So it's just one of those things where even if I don't get a whole lot of followers or a whole lot of views, it's just one of those things as I can use as motivation, kind of like not a coping mechanism per se, but something just as motivation, a drive to kind of keep you going and keep motivated. That's my biggest thing was the past couple years just not having much motivation, just kind of thinking, being in the dumps about not having a whole lot of money. But there's a lot of stuff that I've thought over the, that downtime that I could be doing for free, pretty much. I had a list that I wrote on my phone where I could go through on all my projects, the stuff that I can do, free or extremely cheap in the meantime, from when it's going to take a little bit of money to get the performance parts or aftermarket parts that I'm going to need or want for the build to make it. So even if I'm at that point doing videos where I don't have the extra money, I guess, to put in these projects, I'll still, for the next couple months, have customer cars that we're going to be doing cool stuff with, fabrication work, upgrades. So I'm extremely thankful for that, and not necessarily using other people's money, but using other people's ability to buy stuff. And the guy that owns this car, he works a lot of hours. He drives trucks, so not that he doesn't want to do the work on his own. He just decided that if he's gonna work that hard, why work even harder? So that's where I come into play. I kind of help make it come a reality. That's what we did on the Eclipse. So it came to me in a basket case from a different person, a different builder, that I don't know if they had something come up where they took on the build and just couldn't complete it. I don't know what the story was, the backstory. So I took that on. I did a tuning class with Kevin Jewer. He bought a local track, that's within half an hour, 45 minutes from here. It's not even 45 minutes, it's probably 35, 40 minutes from my house, maybe 20, 25 minutes from where I work. So that's cool. He's a huge guy in the DSM community, super helpful on the tuning pages, has a lot of experience. He's taken on the track. It's cool. You can go to the actual track and talk to the owner, and he's a huge DSM guy like I am. So it's awesome just being able to have him and have learned and still learning from him, because I'll still go to him and ask a few questions. But he's been super helpful in that first build for Bruce, the owner of this car. So getting that car dialed in, and me now being able to help tune other cars. I'll be tuning the Talon, I'll be tuning the Eclipse that's sitting outside. I've got a friend that stops by every once in a while. He was in one of the videos towards the end of the time lapse. He's got a 2G Talon that he just got done putting together. I was kind of helping him a little bit on his tune, getting it figured out. a friend of mine that I actually work with. He, bought his car as a basket case, and we built the engine, put it together, 90 Eclipse, and helping him tune that. So it's just one of those things. There's all kinds of content. It's just a matter of getting it recorded and getting it out to you guys. And I know that the DSM community is still strong in, the members that are a part of it, but it might not be a huge community like it used to be, 10, 15, 20 years ago. So it's just one of those things where I will try and do my best and come up with not necessarily new ideas or, trying to think outside of the box too much, because I think that's when people can start getting creativity blocks, but more just kind of you as being a friend that, is just hanging out in the garage and watching. I'm not trying to be over informative. I'm not trying to make this a teaching channel, or not trying to be totally boring, I guess, with just dragging something out. I know this one's going on a little bit longer, but it helps me kind of feel out the process for the videos and laying out and editing. So the first couple may drag out a little bit longer, and once I figure out, recording times, getting right on it, being able to get better quality content, maybe stuff that doesn't drag out. I haven't been trying to make real long clips. I know this one's kind of dragging on, but it's a lot of information that I want to get out there and kind of explain to anybody that is watching, so that way you know what to expect. It's a little bit, kind of gets you familiar with me and the way that I think and how I feel about working on cars and, projects and taking on different things. So I think it's good, even though it might drag on or whatever, but I want, the information's good to have out there. I'm not trying to bore everybody, but I think it's good quality, explanations of my intentions, I guess. So with all that being said, I'll go ahead and get on this here, and we'll see a little bit later in the video how far I get on this, and maybe we'll start talking a little bit more about other projects that we got going on. But alright, here we go. Alright, here we go. Unbox time. Right off the bat, see some intercooler piping, some hoses, the Borg Warner box, all molded silicone, have hose clamps, brass fitting, set everything out over here. Looks like, and I've gone through the instructions, but I don't remember what these are, so if I ramble them off and they're not the right part, it's just kind of what it appears to be. But looks maybe like the intake boot off the turbo, possibly. Big flared boot on a silicone hose, some heat wrap, so far silicone hoses, and the downpipe, which I was extremely curious about, and that is the part right there that I was worried about. And it appears that it is going to be absolutely bolt on, completely bolt on. Won't have to worry about fabbing a thing, at least exhaust wise so far. But no, that is awesome. Didn't think that it would be anything too crazy, but doesn't look too bad. Some pretty decent little welds, nothing absolutely machine-like, robot-like perfect, but it was probably done by hand, which is good. I can appreciate that. I don't say I can do better. I'd say I can do that just as good. Not trying to gloat or anything, just that's what we can expect on, you know, fabbing some stuff for the wife's dart, any of my other projects, doing the side pipe for the Talon. Kind of a heavy little maybe an engine mount of some kind. Looks like maybe a modified engine mount bracket to clear the turbo, probably. We'll save the turbo for last. That's the best part. Looks like there's an air filter in there. We'll just keep it in the box for now, keep it from getting dirty. Random box, sounds like it's got some bolts in it. We'll come back to that. BorgWarner paperwork from the BorgWarner box from earlier. Not too sure what's in that one either. We'll come back to those. Exhaust gasket. Protect the bearings in this turbo. Add clean engine oil to engine oil to overflowing. Oh. Add the oil in that prior to connecting the oil inlet line. Allow engine to idle for 1 minute after install or initial start. Good to know. This is the manifold. That'll take place of the two factory turbo folds. And for those that don't know, move this over here. A factory turbo fold, the manifold is actually cast into the hot side of the turbo, front and rear. To some it may look like a jumbled mess, which I can understand that, but compared to a lot of like sequential, which is totally different than twins, well, they're still sequential twin turbo, but it's a more complicated setup, and the way that the exhaust and the intakes are routed, they're kind of combined together, where these are actual just true twin turbos. So it's actually a really simple setup. All that, how that is, I didn't touch a single thing. That's exactly how it came off the car. So I plan to, I'll actually be putting everything from the factory turbo setup back into this box. That way, whoever ends up with this, it's all kind of consolidated right together. But yeah, it's a little bit about the stock little baby turbos. I'm gonna grab a knife so I can open the little boxes. Kind of a little teaser. Keep the turbo until the very last little bit, because I know that's what I'd want to see. I looked at it first, but I'm allowed to, so I'm just gonna keep you guys hanging out there for a little bit. Okay. Just cut these open real quick. The white box, as you can see, if you can see it, there's a little bit of extreme quality goodness in there. Here's this one first. See what we got.
Speedtech vinyl car decals. Nice. A little bit of heat tape, some kind. Looks like they have all the bags individually labeled really nicely. And 54 turbo oil feed. And there's your block flange, maybe to the top of the turbo oil feed. Coolant plugs, those are in to the side of the block. Block off the factory turbo coolant feed. N54 downpipe nuts and bolts. N54 water pump reposition. Interesting. Didn't read about that, but doesn't surprise me. N54 manifold studs and nuts. Pretty self-explanatory for me anyways. V-band flange clamps. This is a little box of goodness. N54 turbo oil drain. I did see that block actually bolts onto the turbo for, I'm guessing, is space saving. Pretty ingenious the way they have it actually. There's the new water neck, if you remember. This here. That's our factory water neck. Not sure which position it's supposed to run to be totally honest, but you get the picture. That's what it's converting to. And for the white box, wastegate dump tube, which is recirculated, which means it goes back into the downpipe. The wastegate's pretty nicely mounted right onto the manifold, top mounted, so it's easily accessible to adjust your wastegate spring if you need to, or springs. But that actually, there's the downpipe. I'll kind of show it a little bit better maybe on the car, but there's how that will go. And for the little V-band flange clamp, nice. And on to tile goodness. Shows you how to properly route your vacuum and your boost controller, whatever boost control way you decide to control the boost with. Quality stuff. I've always been a huge fan of Tile. I've used their multiple products throughout the years. Comes with quite a few different range of spring selection. So I'll actually be curious if we don't have to put a spring in it. Different fittings, flange clamps. Good quality stuff. And you can't, I don't know, I try and stress it to a lot of people that want to build their cars and go boosted. You can have good luck with aftermarket or, you know, proven smaller company with knockoff stuff that they go through and you know, kind of put their stamp on it and say that it's good to go. But nothing beats, you know, like Tile Quality or Turbo Smart or Precision. There's a lot of different companies out there that make really high quality stuff that's not going to grenade, you know, all of your hard earned, you know, putting all your time and money into it and just to blow it up because, you know, not skimping out, but more or less if you didn't know, if, you know, quality counts. But that's one spot that I always highly stress to not mess around and not cheap out. So it's awesome to see this kit come with that tile. The kit also does come with many turbo options. This one just so happens to be the BorgWarner S257. It's not the smallest, or yeah, I don't think it's the smallest that they offered, but it's definitely, you know, it's more middle of the road versus like the Precision that you could get, or Garrett. You know, I think they offer all the way up to a GT42, I think, possibly, you could get with this kit. Don't mark my words, I may be wrong, but I think I was reading that. So I mean, this kit, all the hard parts, you know, are good enough to handle in excess of 1,000 horsepower, 1,100 horse, I think, where this kit is going to put them somewhere in the ballpark of around 600 and I think 80 is where they say, you know, it's rated for. So almost 700 horse. That's going to be pretty rowdy in this car, to say the least. So, but the moment we've all been waiting for. All wrapped up in a plastic bag. There she is. Dang, that's pretty. I don't know the complete specs on this. Doesn't look to be a billet wheel. From what I can see, it looks to be a cast wheel. Nice and firm. Different factory markings. Must be like a batch number, or maybe a balance number, you know, as it's going down. Couldn't tell you. Final quality control. It does have, looks like, I don't know if that would have been done by BorgWarner or if that's something that Speedtech actually does, putting that V-band flange on there. Pretty decent looking quality welds on there. Not too sure if this hot side is cast and they use the stainless filler rod, because a lot of times cast welds a little bit differently, but that's a whole different other subject. I'm pretty sure that you can, in certain instances, you can use stainless to weld cast, but I would have to do a little bit more research to be absolutely 100% sure. Hard work and dedication, kids. And then you get to blow it all on big single turbo kits for your BMW. Did forget the manifold. Got a little bit of ahead of myself. From what I understand, this is their actual design cast manifold. Speedtech designed this, so, which is pretty neat. Yep, right there, cast right into it. Speedtech.com. Divided runners into the wastegate, which is pretty neat, to be honest. I was looking at that in the instruction manifold. That way you can actually control a twin scroll with one wastegate instead of running dual wastegates. I think ideally it would be a twin gate, would be, you know, in a true twin scroll setup would be the most ideal, but I understand that space is a restriction in this build, so it goes right back in the cylinder head just like the factory turbo folds did. Pretty nice piece, really. Feels like a good heavy quality cast. So there is the biggest differences in the actual turbos, the factory turbos. Lay that out. I believe I do have to clock the turbine housing and the intake housing a bit. They actually show you in the instruction manual, but that definitely gives you an idea space-wise. Two little baby turbos, one big Borg Warner. I believe it's 57 millimeter, if that's how it's the they break down the model of it. I'm not too sure. That's what all this is for. That's why we do this. Pull all of that stuff off to gain access for a more capable turbo setup. I'm not sure what the factory limitations on the twins are, but judging by the size of those, it's probably not too far above factory. I mean, I know the guys are getting pretty decent numbers with the JB4, but far more capable. Fairly simple kit, to be honest. I'm extremely pleased with how simple it is and how easy they make it, actually. I can definitely say that I wouldn't want to tackle this on the ground, even though you could. It's definitely I would recommend having a lift just for the simplicity. So you always read your instructions first. Had I read it, I'd have known I had to put this fitting in before I clocked the exhaust housing. So I get to do it again. Don't let it fool you, it's hot out here. there it is. One Speedtech manifold width Borg Warner S257. A little bit of a chunk of weight there, not gonna lie. Oh man, it's not fully installed. I've got two manifold nuts just holding it in place right at the moment, but there she is. The end of the fourth night. I could still work for another hour or so, I think. I don't even know what time it is. Over here to the back side. Still gotta hook up the oil feed there, which shouldn't be too bad. There's all kinds of room in here now. New modified water pipe there. Pretty cool setup, to be honest. I really dig it. Back to that front. Beautiful. I am not sure about that relay plate. I don't know if that's gonna clear the wastegate or not. We may have to do some adjustment on that, but that plate right here, it's loose. It's actually just kind of chilling up there. It'll fall down if I bump it just right, but I'm hoping that it'll tuck back in the way. I'll read in the instructions and see what it recommends. I know I have, see if I can find it, this tab here. They say to kind of just cut it off, just follow that line. I've got that to trim off. It must be part of the, like a coolant line or something, needs clearance to fit there. That's on the to-do list. Oil drain, oil feed. Then bolt the oil drain block on, then the drain will actually go to the factory return spot. That's your factory front oil drain. The front coolant drain gets a block off. The rear coolant drain got a block off. And then the rear oil drain for the rear factory turbo got a block off. Uses the factory oil feed. It's a pretty neat setup. A lot of engineering time, a lot of thought really went into this kit. It really goes together well. I haven't really fought anything on this kit. The studs kind of went into the manifold a little rough. I just chased them out and then ended up, the one still kind of went in a little rough, and I didn't double nut it. I actually put a nut on it and it grabbed enough, one of the lock nuts, and it ran it in, and then I was able to back the nut off, so that worked out pretty well. So I guess I'll kind of keep plugging away. I don't know if the downpipe will interfere with the oil pan, but I should be able to pretty much button up the entire turbo kit without worrying about pulling the oil pan off, because I guess the oil pan gasket and stuff, the parts are getting ordered or have been ordered, so I will be waiting on those, but if it comes to that and we're still waiting on that, then we can do the rear diff and then the control arms and stuff like that. So there's plenty to do, but it's pretty awesome. I think Bruce is going to be really happy. Not that he doesn't have a love-hate relationship with this car, but it'll bring a little bit of excitement to this thing for a while. That's just crazy seeing that thing under there, where them little itty bitty baby turbos were. Now you got that nice, beautiful Borg. I sure do love it. It's pretty awesome. Plenty of room, hopefully, to drop the oil pan, move those lines. I don't think the oil pan will be too big of a deal at all with that subframe drop like that. And the factory exhaust pipes will just hook right into that down pipe. Good ending to the night, I definitely say that. Well, I will catch everyone tomorrow. I don't know if I might ramble on in a little bit of a video walking around talking about other projects here tonight, or just wait until tomorrow, but if not, I will catch everybody on tomorrow's video.